Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today taking a look at the vintage collection release of the Remnant Stormtrooper from the Mandalorian. The card back is looking pretty good with the Star Wars Mandalorian logo towards the top, and of course below that in the name pill you've got the Remnant Stormtrooper name, and a very nice image of that Stormtrooper in the background. Through the blister, you see the figure with his included accessory being his blaster, and here's a look at the back side, top right corner, number 165 in the line. The rest of the top half is showing you 8 figures that are available currently in this line. Interesting that they chose to knock it down from the 10 figures that used to be pictured. And of course the bottom half is still all the legal information. And now looking at it out of the packaging, overall, decent looking figure, and this is one that we've already seen before. This is just a repaint of the vintage collection Stormtrooper that was released, number 140 in the line. As you can see, like I said, as far as sculpting and such, all the same. You get the same weapon and the same mold for the figure. As you can see, the big differences between the two, and that's why you want to get this figure, is because he's all, just full of dirt and marked up. So since I already did a review of the figure, and I'll even put a link below, I'm not going to get into the sculpting of this figure since, well, I've already talked about it. But to discuss what is new about this, as I mentioned, is he's got a lot more dirt and a lot of scoring marks, and that is what's new here. Looking in on the helmet, for the most part, you got a nice black scoring, some tan painted in there for some dirt, and some of that tan painting even goes onto the lens of the helmet, covering his right eye, screen left as you look at it. So it's just a little bit of a shaded look in comparison to the lens covering the other eye. I will say painting for that other eye, though, did kind of miss the mark, so it sits a little bit lower on the helmet. And if you look at this painting basically straight on, everything about it looks great, but as you look to the top of the head, and even get to the back of the figure, he starts to get pretty darn clean. You get just a couple tan mark paintings off to the side on the back, and that's it. And that is really going to be the theme of this figure, is how hit and miss all these little dirt and scoring marks are. As for the upper half of the body, same thing applies. You've got a little bit of painting being done on his right shoulder. The front of his forearm, very clean looking. It's not until you look at the bottom side where you're going to see any dirt and scoring markings there. Chest looks fantastic. This probably is going to be the standout area of this figure for me. Some great tan painting for dirt, and once again, some more scoring marks. Nothing overly heavy, but it's nice and splattered throughout the area, and that's what I like about it, is you at least get some good coverage in this chest armor. His left shoulder, a little bit more heavier with the scoring marks on the front of it, but same as the rest. As it rolls around to the side, he cleans up. So it really makes for an uneven presentation. And then you just look at his whole backside, except for a little bit of tan off to the side on his back armor, looking pretty clean. You do have an ever so slight amount of dirt being faded in on his rear end. Otherwise, around the front of the waist, some more dirt being applied in there. And then you get to his thighs, you got some dirt painted in through there on the front side, along with a little bit of carbon scoring up top. And then some slight tan painting on the back of his thighs. And then on the back of his left thigh, you got a pretty large black mark painted in there. And for the bottom part of his legs, you got a touch of scoring down by the ankles, more so on his right leg, and just a tiny bit on the inside of his left foot. As for articulation, head's going to spin all the way around. Head nods up and down and a little bit side to side. Shoulders raise up 90 degrees with that armor sinking into the shoulder joint. And then you got your full swivel in there. Great range of motion at the elbows, raising up past 90 degrees. Along with your rotation at that point, both wrists swivel, and then his right hand goes up and down, while the left hand hinges side to side. Full swivel at the waist, some crunching forward and back and even side to side. You get your swivel and hinge at the hip joint, and then you're swiveling at the top of the thigh. Good bend at the knee along with your rotation, and then your ankles move forward and back along with your swiveling. As for accessories, he does come with the E11 blaster. This once again is the same release that we had with the Vintage Collection Stormtrooper. Detailing within the mold still looks good. Nice black color with a touch of silver painting being done on the side. And as expected, he does hold the weapon well in his hand. So overall for me, I do still like this figure. I just wish it was a little bit more consistent with the way the scoring was done. I think the dirt part of the painting from the entire front of the figure looks good. Definitely could have used more on the back side of the figure. And like I said, the carbon scoring, I would have liked to see more consistent application of it throughout the figure. A little bit more on the very top of the helmet. Definitely some more on the front of his forearms and the front of his legs, and then throughout the backside. It just would have made for a much more complete looking figure. With that said, like I said, I still think this is a nice looking figure. And certainly not one that I would just turn my nose up at. And with that Imperial troop transport coming out from the Mandalorian, this I'm sure is going to look great right alongside that. So that wraps up this review. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.